And welcome everybody to the Daily Space Weather. We are streaming live to Twitch. If you want to see these videos before they're even uploaded, head to twitch.tv/smAsho. I be your host, El smAsho del Masho Tank. And we are starting things out by looking at the sun here, the Rosetta Stone of cosmology in 94 angstroms. One of the ionized states of iron, its UV emission spectra, and a small active region in the southwest as well as in the northeast. We'll look at it more in depth momentarily. I just wanted to show you cycle comparisons here for solar cycles 21 through 24, which encompasses my entire life almost precisely, as I was born in April of 1996, and you can see cycle 21 began in March of 1976. So there you go. There's all of the solar cycles that I've seen. And the pink line is the previous solar cycle, cycle 24, as it takes many months of the new cycle before it is established when the cycle ends and when the next begins. Now, we've stated on the channel over and over again that we expected the cycle to end in August of 2019. If I was off by anything, it was maybe about a month. So I would say the end of August, beginning of September 2019 is when cycle 25 has begun, and what it really comes down to is the solar polar fields and whether we see more cycle 24 activity or cycle 25 activity. If you want to look at all this data, it's available at solon.info/solar. Next, we're going to look at the fields here on HelioViewer. Here's 171 angstroms. There are the magnetic fields, and we see no sunspots. And here's the fade to 304 angstroms. Let's zoom in on this active region a little bit here. And there you see the state of affairs going on with that. And there's that fade that everybody likes. We're going to get it on a thumbnail one of these days, I promise. And next we're going to look at that region animated, as we've made a custom movie for you here. And it looks like the data was a little bit old. There was a little hiccup in the data there right around midnight. Anyway, here's that same view in 304 angstroms. You can see that filament up there. Nothing too exciting. I would note some brightness around the north solar polar region. We see some little prominences up there, and that is another sign of solar activity ramping up. And that's a good thing. That's what we want to see. Here's the full disk view. It's 48 hours from the SDO. And you can see the timestamps down there. Pardon the scrolling marquee. Please visit those websites, whether it's smashomash.org or patreon.com/smashomash or perhaps smashomash.com/forum. Some larger filaments down there in the southeast as well. Perhaps we'll make another video later about it. It looks like it's collapsed back onto the chromosphere. KP index is at 0, and so we're going to take a look at one of the only known point sources for cosmic ray flux, which is Cygnus X3, the massive X-ray binary, which has just awakened from its quiescent state. And I forgot to bring out Epic Pen, so bear with me for 1 minute. So when this is in a quiescent state, its baseline is around 0. You can see down here, there's a quiescent state which we just came off of, and now we're getting into a higher level X-ray state. Let's see, over the past week or so, we've been up here around 0.05, so we're a little bit above the baseline here right now, and it'll be interesting to see what Cygnus X3 does. We won't get into the importance of Cygnus X3. If you want to read about it, head to smashomash.com/forum, and in the cosmology thread, there is an entire thread just about this massive X-ray binary. Next, we're going to look at cosmic rays. That was X-rays, by the way. Let me just get back to this a minute. You can find all that information at the Neil Gorell Swift Bat Observatory. That stands for Burst Alert Telescope, and you can find all kinds of objects there. For instance, Sagittarius A star is SGR space A star. It looks like somebody is aware that the core of the galaxy is a star. I'll just call it a massive radio source and not a supermassive black hole. Anyway, here is the neutron monitor at PETITION Barentsburg. And it's a downtick over the past 30 days at Apatity. And it's quite flat at Barentsburg over the past 30. Let's go to Athens and check out their cosmic ray monitor. And it is a neutron monitor, by the way. And there is the state of affairs at that. Small downtick there over the past 30 days as well. Next, Mexico City. Small downtick on Mexico City over the past 30 days, as you can see from the graph. And bear with me 1 minute. Oh, there I am. Next, we're going to look at Moscow. And Moscow's still not sending data. They're probably covidiotically avoiding the laboratory. And next, we've got Oulu, Finland. Flat to slightly down over the past 30 days at Oulu. DOMB Antarctica not sending data, but DOMC is. And we see some pretty wild fluctuations there in DOMC Antarctica, but it's still slightly down-ticked over the past 30 days. Don't take our word for it if you want to monitor cosmic rays yourself. Just look up Network of Cosmic Ray Stations, and you'll get this same list. 10.7 centimeter radio flux has come back up to 71, and for that, we thank the sun. For you new viewers out there, the 10.7 centimeter radio flux is a proxy for sunspot number. So this was discovered in 1947 by some Canadians playing with World War II radio equipment. They noticed that the sun is emitting a 10.7 centimeter radio flux. So this gets measured. The solar flux units are basically arbitrary units. And this correlates quite precisely with sunspot number. And if you look at those graphs we showed earlier on solon.info/solar, you can see that this follows the sunspot number quite exactly. It's very, very highly correlated. Next, looking at the solar system, here's where stuff is now. There's where stuff will be in 1 week as we approach the conjunctive zone of Jupiter, Mars, and Saturn. And Venus swings around. And looking at a star chart, by the way, this is Cygnus X3 right here, the star Deneb, which is also the most intrinsically bright object known in the galaxy, at least visible from Earth at the current moment. Perhaps it's kind of important. We won't talk about how it's related to things like Göbekli Tepe or anything like that. We'll just move on. By the way, if you have a low horizon before sunrise, you should be able to see Mars, Jupiter, and Saturn. And actually, they're reaching the apex of the ecliptic now. There's Jupiter, there's Saturn, there's Mars, and the Moon. So you should have a great view of 4 bright objects. And we don't see any kind of X-ray flaring there. X-ray flux is totally flatlined. Proton flux is doing the same thing. No surprises there. And let's talk cosmology for a quick moment. Since the sun is the Rosetta Stone of cosmology, we're very interested in studying it, which is why we talk about metallic hydrogen on the regs. Metallic hydrogen is a reasonable explanation for solar behavior. Let me read a quote. In August 2018, scientists announced new observations regarding the rapid transformation of fluid deuterium from an insulating to a metallic form below 2000 K. Remarkable agreement is found between the experimental data and the predictions based on quantum Monte Carlo simulations, which is expected to be the most accurate method to date. This may help researchers better understand giant gas planets such as Jupiter, Saturn, and related exoplanets, since such planets are thought to contain a lot of liquid metallic hydrogen, which would be responsible for their observed powerful magnetic fields. See what happened there? Powerful magnetic fields. Liquid metallic hydrogen behaves like graphite, and the only way that the sun could possibly emit the continuous white light spectra that it emits would be from a lattice structure. A structure such as, graphite, for instance, a black body emitter. And That is the best explanation we have out there. It also explains things like why we see so much hydrogen when we look at emission spectra in cosmology. Liquid metallic hydrogen. Understand it. It was featured on yesterday's thumbnail inside of a sunspot. If you haven't read the 40 lines of evidence for condensed matter, the sun on trial, liquid metallic hydrogen as a solar building block, well, it's 7 years old already. And perhaps have a read. It's got more than interesting material in it. And it explains solar behavior in a reasonable fashion. And here's Robitaille's images of a lattice structure. And by the way, if you're wondering what this is, that is an intercalate region, which Robitaille believes is responsible for coronal hole wind streams. We won't get into the physics of it. Read the paper. It's available free online. 40 lines of evidence for condensed matter, the sun on trial, liquid metallic hydrogen as a solar building block. Let's get back to data. Real-time solar wind is showing us an ongoing phi angle here right around 180 degrees, probably an ongoing magnetic connection to a coronal hole system. BTBZ is unexciting. Nothing to really comment on there. Solar wind density currently around 6 protons per cubic centimeter. Solar wind speed very low at 295 kilometers a second, making for a very weak magnetosphere. So here's 4 hours of that information. And we've got some giant Van Allen belts. Check out the size of the plasma spheres. Very, very big right now. There's a lot of space, and there's an electron shortage going on. So anyway, there's 4 hours of data of the magnetosphere. If you want to see what was going on with this on a previous day, head to our space weather, daily space weather videos playlist, and you'll be able to find 4 hours of data from around this time of day on hundreds and hundreds of daily space weather videos. Next, looking at the geospace ground magnetic perturbations, and we don't see very many. By the way, we did comment on Anton Petrov's latest video about geomagnetism, which is basically assumptions piled on top of assumptions, piled on top of assumptions, and disputing a lot of observational reality. Not a lot of perturbations in the last 4 hours. GOES magnetometer is looking pretty smooth, and it's going to stop looking pretty smooth very soon as we're about to jump back into the South Pole oriented portion of the current sheet. I'll explain that in the next slide. And now we're looking at the Gong 2 information. This is as if you're looking at the sun from the top down. Out here is stereo A. Out here is stereo B. And you can see that green portion right in here is starting to vanish. So we expect to be back in the South Pole oriented portion of the current sheet very soon, especially considering that there is some activity rising north of the equator in the northeast corner, which we'll be watching. So we're going to snap back into the South Pole portion of the current sheet here, and the whole thing is going to go back to red most likely very soon. And here's the view from stereo A, by the way. Now you're out here now. You're looking in this direction from stereo A. Let me get rid of that. And we do see some plasma activity there in the corona. We see this lengthy plume out here, which still hasn't fully released. Some of it has ejected out, but just a portion of it. And we see some activity here on the opposite side of the sun too. Now the Earth is out in this direction. And this is what we use for forecasting coronal mass ejections, as stereo A gives us the best view. Even, well, it's better in some ways than the LASCO C2 and the LASCO C3 and the SOHO spacecraft. And let's get back to the Gong 2 data here. Here's the line of sight field plot. Nothing too exciting happening there. Relativistic electrons, as reported by Solon.info, still very low, seeing an electron shortage here. And here's the total electron content forecast. And this model showing very low levels of electron flux as well. Not expecting to see very many GPS errors. Very low levels of electron flux. Here's the GOES electron flux, and you can see a little bit higher. So we're creeping up back into more, shall we say, normal levels of electron flux. And I can't really watch a video while I'm making a video, but I'll check it out after it's over. And thanks for leaving a comment, Monkey D. Luffy Pirate Teching. So there are electrons out there, folks. I think there are quite a lot of electrons out there, and they are taking their good old time showing up. Next, we'll look at the ionosphere. Here is 6 hours of data. And the ionosphere continues to look very wobbly on the nighttime side especially. Let's bring up the latest image and move on, as this is the daily space weather. And we don't want the video to be too long. And there you see the current state of affairs at 9:15 UT. Looking a little more normal there, although heavily discharged around Antarctica, turning into an F flare. When you see the red blobs there, folks, that's an F flare. Yellow blobs and other colors besides red are F2, F3, etc. as double layers form due to pressure. Now, let's take a look at windy.com. Since the planet's so hot that it's cold, and we've seen 2 standard deviations above normal snowfall, 2 standard deviations above the 30-year average for the past 3 winters in a row, folks. If you're worried about Greenland melting, well, let me just go up to Greenland real quick. Greenland has 9 feet of snow nearly from coast to coast. There's 5 meters. There's 5 meters. Now this area here, oh my God, there's no snow there. But notice the entire island of Greenland has about 9 feet of snow. So if you're worried about it melting, there's that. Plus we receive snow as far south as West Virginia. I don't know where I've gone here. We've got snow on the ground down in the Appalachians of West Virginia. Check it out. Windy.com reporting 1.5 inches. And if you're wondering what date it is, it's May 10th. Let me just go back to the pressure map that we usually show in this section and end this segment about how the planet is so hot that it's cold. Anyway, there's the pressure maps, and we're going to let this advance into tomorrow so you can see where pressure systems are expected to be. This gives you an overall weather forecast, folks. If you know anything about atmospheric physics, there's where we expect things to be at 12 noon tomorrow, my time. And again, thanks to all our new viewers, subscribers, etc., patrons. We are located in Lehigh Valley, Pennsylvania. Let's move on to look at earthquakes. And I don't think we saw anything over a 6 for the past 24. There is one in China. Let's just scroll up the list here. We're going to note anything odd or anything deep. So there's a deep quake at Chile. It's a 4.6 magnitude at 133.5 kilometers depth. Here's a deep quake coming in just about 4 hours later. It's a 4.6 magnitude at Indonesia. So not a lot of earthquakes. This is an odd one here, though. Let's take a note of that. That one there is a 3.9 magnitude at Ferme Nueve, Canada. So that's a bit of an odd one. And that's a New Madrid quake there, it looks like. A 3.3 struck Tennessee. Moving on to volcanoes. And we see some new additions to the list. Kluchevskoy is still in the list. Flight level 22,000 feet there. Karimsky now exploding, also on the Kamchatka Peninsula. 9,000 foot plume of ash there as it explodes. Please do not attempt to pole vault the caldera at Karimsky. Sakurajima, unknown volcanic ash cloud there. Dakono, flight level 7,000 as it explodes. Popocatépetl, no volcanic ash seen in satellite. Don't let that be a reason for you to attempt to do a back handspring over the caldera there. Sangay exploding, flight level 21,000. Revenador exploding, flight level 16,000. Sabancaya exploding. Sporadic puff emissions producing a 25,000 foot plume of ash. Please do not attempt to jump a dune buggy over the Sabancaya caldera. That could be unhealthy. And we've moved on to the, oh no, it's so scary. I'm so scared. I'm shaking in my bunker. I'm so scared that I don't know what to do. I think maybe... Well, that helps. Hey, thanks, son. And let's talk about COVID-19, coronavirus, Covidiots, Covidiotic, whatever you want to say. And I would invite you to head to soundclick.com/goldencatproductions. Yesterday we featured, now we've got 15 tracks on there. Yesterday we featured Molybdenum 99, and it's jumped up the charts to number 50 in the instrumental rock subgenre. Today let's talk about Figurine 2010. This was specifically created for video game music. And we actually do indeed have a video for our favorite video game, Wolfenstein Enemy Territory, featuring that song, or a part of it. We'll show you in a later video. So, what will you be doing when you're on lockdown? Will it be something covidiotic, or will it be something productive? Here's a nice article. Maybe you'll read science publications like I do. Scientists admit all disease models are wrong and working to fix. So this is about University of Colorado at Boulder, and how Rebecca Morrison, an assistant professor of computer science, is attempting to get the garbage out of their garbage in, garbage out models. So if you want to read that article, feel free. It's mainly about Zika virus models and so on, but now they're starting to work on covidiotic models as well. And I assume they're probably not working on climate models, since they're mainly full of garbage. Anyway, science is being rewritten, and we applaud Ms. Morrison, who has taken some of the garbage out of the junky code associated with these ridiculous models. Another thing you could do while you're locked down is you could make fun of Neil Thompson in The Electric View. Now, I don't know why he's dressed up like Joy Behar here, but he looks hot at that sausage party. Makes you want to totally attend that sausage party. And note to self, thaw the veal and Gouda sausage out of the freezer. Another thing you may do is view our playlists, as we've made playlists to make it more convenient to be able to watch our content, so perhaps consider that. It's youtube.com/smAsho, or perhaps consider funding the channel via Subscribestar or Patreon, or perhaps visit the websites, or go to the BitChute page where there will be an exclusive video made today, most likely. Another thing you can do is you can watch fantastic musical performances, such as this one by Perry Farrell of Porno for Pyros, performing Pets at Woodstock 94. Here's a teaser. And now he crowd surfs, something that you're all probably jonesing to do, much less stand around with 60,000 of your closest pals. Here's another little clip. This is a fantastic, amazing performance. And yeah, so here, have another little tidbit, and then go watch Porno for Pyros, Pets, Dominator, 8/14/1994 at Woodstock 94. By the way, Perry Farrell is the originator of festival music, music festivals such as Lollapalooza, which I actually was at in 1994 in Philadelphia. It was amazing. Tribe Called Quest, the Beastie Boys, Smashing Pumpkins, L7, Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds, and countless other fantastic bands. Sorry if I left anybody out, but there were too many bands to keep track of. Anyway, that's an amazing, amazing performance. You should totally watch it. Pets by Porno for Pyros. Now, yesterday we talked about making turnip and parsnip soup. Well, we did make some, and it's nothing like this, as this requires you to blend up everything and use a cream base. We didn't use a cream base. We made a water-based soup with, I believe we used beef broth. And that caused me to make something I never made before, parsnip chips. So check out this. If you don't follow me on Instagram, maybe you'd like to. There'll be more recipes coming out soon. Here's a recipe for parsnip chips.
Ah, yes, the parsnip. As we try something we've never tried before.
It's the parsnip chips being baked right now. Very easy to make, folks. Yeah. All you got to do, take a vegetable peeler, peel a parsnip into thin strips, bake it at 350, tossed in olive oil and sea salt, and we'll see the results. In the meantime, look at these dudes. Yes, we have unicorn rubber duckies for the fish. They enjoy it greatly, as well as their new plants. And almost done with the parsnip chips. Try parsnip chips if you never had them, but you can also make them out of beets, you can make them out of potatoes, you can make them out of onions, carrots. Make some homemade chips, folks. Absolutely out of control. They are fantastic. Try it out. Parsnip chips. And you can substitute all kinds of different things. Are you aware of HIPAA? Do you know what HIPAA is? The Health Insurance Portability and Accountability Act of 1996. Well, guess what? HIPAA has not evaporated. So for all these governments and corporations that want to know stuff about your health information, they're not entitled to it. Your health information is your health information. Look at this Covidiots going on in New Jersey right now, as reported by Dan Crenshaw. To which I responded, how about shutting down the ineffective government? Is it legal to do that on the beach? Here's what you're allowed to do on Ocean City, New Jersey's beach. You can walk, run, exercise, or surf, or fish as long as you're not in a chair. What you can't do is sunbathe, sit in a chair, group sports, group of people, or swimming. Wow. I would not move to Jersey if it was the last place to move on Earth. I would just move off the planet. We also commented on Anton Petrov's video where I said, cut me a break, Anton. You don't know how Earth's magnetic fields are generated since nobody knows for sure. Cute hypotheses, but this isn't based on any science, but rather conjecture on top of more conjecture. There is zero proof of an iron core, co-rotating mantle layers, Earth's electron availability, lack of heavy elements and deep boreholes, it's not supposed to be crystal aquifers, deep water aquifers is what it's supposed to say, and countless other observations like the Curie temperature of molten iron eliminating its magnetism. So if we've got a molten iron core, how is it magnetic? Keep on trying, though, as we're very interested in how the fields are generated. Also, there are 3 dipoles now, 2 north poles and 1 south pole. The Earth's magnetic field is not and never was anything like a bar magnet. Oh, and by the way, at 3:36 this morning, it was 40 degrees where I'm located. Not as cold. So it's 3:36 a.m. as forecasted. And we're looking at the mercury here, and it's 40 degrees. So there's your weather report from eastern Lehigh Valley, Pennsylvania. Now, if you're on Facebook, please check us out on Facebook. It's facebook.com/smAsho, and we'll be making another video, possibly a BitChute exclusive, about this petition to recall the governor of Pennsylvania. Please sign it, as we need a different governor, because that Covidiot is 100% ineffective, just like his physician general, former NCAA linebacker, Dr. Rachel Levine. And check it out, I'm back. We're also on Minds, minds.com/smAsho. If you don't like all the censorship, BS, and nonsense associated with Facebook, head to Minds. It's the future of social media, where you won't be censored, you won't be shadow banned, your content won't be throttled. It's a growing community, so check it out. Censorship is acceptable, survey said. Oh man, don't try to shut us up, it's not going to work. And again, thanks to our new subs on BitChute, we got to make a 150 subscriber special, as well as possibly an exclusive about petitioning the government. We're also on Twitter, and the petition is over there as well. We've been retweeting some of the stuff Razorfist has been saying. Shout out to Razorfist. Let's do a collabo. Your content is fantastic. The only guy on the internet snarkier than me might be Razorfist. By the way, if you're wondering what's going on down in Texas, Mark Cuban hired secret shoppers to visit hundreds of Dallas restaurants and businesses and found that a staggering 96% aren't complying with safe reopening guidelines. Yes! Well done, Dallas! Now, I assume that he's probably using these secret shoppers to go snitch on people, try to get businesses closed, try to get people fined, and all that kind of nonsense. So, to quote Razor, Mark Cuban answering the question of what shape feces would take if it were able to assume human form. Have you read about our mission? You can find it at smashamash.com/forum/mission, as well as a lot of other interesting information. Perhaps the Cosmology Forum. Perhaps the General Science Forum featuring the hashtag Covidiots section. Speaking of Covidiots, look at those Covidiots. It's former NCAA linebacker Dr. Rachel Levine and Governor Tom Wolf, Pennsylvania's two top Covidiots. And they need to go. So you can also find the petition at smashamash.com/forum. It's the latest. By the way, part of the reason for this is because the U.S. Supreme Court refused to lift Governor Wolf's business closure order. And so now we've got, since we couldn't recall the order, let's recall the governor. What do you think? Leave a comment. Are you
indomitable?
Please be
indomitable.
The government works for us, not vice versa. And with respect to the government, you are
indomitable.
And you are essential. If anybody tells you that you're not essential, they're lying to you. Let's get back to data here at nullschool.net. Looking at the jet streams, which are all over the place, folks. Check out this split. Check out this convergence. Check out this warm air being injected into Greenland, causing people to say, OMG, OMG, the world is ending because Greenland is melting, even though it's not really melting as a whole by any stretch of the imagination, as we showed you all the snow that's sitting up there. And by the way, that was there all year last summer. So if you're worried about Greenland melting, please look up some data about it. Understand the physics, or at least attempt to. Here are the eastern jets. And we see an anticyclone there over the northern Middle East once again. And just doubled up jet streams, tripled up jet streams. Frigid air being injected up here into the southern Indian Ocean. And let's just move on to more stuff. Value-added services. Here are the water vapor maps for Europe and Africa. Here are the water vapor maps for the Far East and Oceania. Here's a lightning map. And a whole bunch of lightning bolts just struck right as I brought up the map. How do you like that? The Caribbean's getting hit as well as Central America. If you've never seen it before, check out lightningmaps.org. If you hear thunder, you may be amazed at how you're able to predict, forecast, whatever you want to call it. Here's a U.S. Doppler radar map, and we can see heavy snow still falling in central New York, the northern Great Lakes region, South Dakota, Nebraska, some of Wyoming. And it looks like a bunch of scattered showers over Florida. Shout out to Mothra. Down there in Oviedo. Everybody say hi to Mothra, my good old mom, located in Oviedo, Florida. Next, we're looking at the U.S. water vapor map. Nothing too exciting going on there. And let's look at this dry air smashing and mashing its way into Illinois. Check it out. You got this dry air battering ram that's going to push things to the east, almost due east, as the jet stream dips down and makes some folks a little on the chilly side. And let's move on, because we ain't got all day. It's Sunday and we've got things to do. More content to make. By the way, there'll be another episode of The Diamond Anvil, Too Hard to Smash, coming out today, thanks to our Subscribe stars. The real source of funding for the channel is Patreon. Please consider supporting us there, as we've got a lot of things to do throughout the year of 2020, and we need your help to do it. So whether you can send us $1 a month or $9.99 a month, we've got only 2 tiers, the intro tier and the gold tier. And we do create some public posts there. In fact, all of our posts for April were public. There's some free music, there's ringtones, alarm tones, graphics, and all kinds of other things throughout the month of April. So even if you refuse to pay us even as little as $1 a month, sign up at Patreon anyway. You will still see some content coming out. Thanks to our Smash team, as the entire channel is a collaborative effort. Thanks to our newest and oldest members of the Smash team. Those loyal, whether you're friends or foes, we appreciate your comments, your views, and your shares on social media, especially, to quote Mr. Moriello, sharing is caring. So here's the intensity gram to see 0 sunspots. Here's the colorized magnetogram to see one little area of magnetic organization up there, and one little area right there, and one little area right there, but now we're getting into the nitty-gritty, and we're looking for stuff we don't want to hallucinate. Let's look at 131 angstroms to close this mother out. There's the view in 131 angstroms. Thanks for tuning in, folks. Remember, stare at the sun, don't drink, and if you do, don't drive. And since it'll never be now again, may that solar wind be at your back, and that Covidiocy in a different galaxy. By the way, I heard M31. It's lovely this time of year. If you're a Covidiot, consider vacationing in the Andromeda Galaxy.